We are back. We're playing Sorcerer in the Dictionary of Moose setting, and we're seeing Marduk returning to uh, Moo's Bed, which is a city in a crater. And we've established that the class inequality in Moo's Bed, which was never really great to begin with, has gotten even worse. And uh, yeah, I don't think equality was ever high on their list, and that Marduk kind of has a goodish relationship with the Witch King, and has known him since he was a little boy. But there was someone who brought him here who he doesn't quite remember. Only can remember like a pale arm and a tattoo of vines and expensive rings on their hands, and that is it.
Hmm.
But yeah, and his friend the Witch King has asked him to call Phobos to Moo's bed, uh, which is interesting because that's not like it's not like you have to call Phobos from the void. You just have to like put out a call for him to come here, and he kind
Right.
of almost has to travel by in a mundane way, which I think is kind of interesting. Uh, what does that again? What does that look like? What does that because there are different in order to summon and bind something, you have to contact it, then you have to summon it, and then you have to bind it.
Hmm.
So yeah, what does the contacting look like? When because we know Phobos is in the an old place, an old temple in this fort, in this oasis fort that
Hmm.
Marduk's tribe is owns.
Right. Right.
So yeah, what does that look like? Calling this
So
weird bug demon.
yes. So I think I have to go to the oldest place in Moose Bed.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, to even have a shot at being able to reach Phobos.
Cool.
Um, and then I think he can make the trip. I think we're negotiating over what he's going to get when he gets here. Um,
Right.
and so while I'm worried about uh, Phobos being sacrificed to History Eater,
Yeah.
I then ask, we're going to have to give Phobos something, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and when I mean give, I mean sacrifice
Yep.
someone to
Yep.
Phobos once he arrives, right? That will be his price. I will try
Nice.
to bargain and negotiate down, but that's going to be the price.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
He wears skins for Moose's sake.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Um. Cool. Yeah. I think the Witch King says, I have enemies, and I will tell the soldiers of Lemuria to bring me their skins. Please tell your friend that by the time he arrives, uh, he will have an array of skins to choose from.
um, I accept that, but there's a funniness uh, in that an array of skins means we're kind of setting the bar high. If we have to
Right.
negotiate with Phobos again, right, that's going to be the bottom for him, right?
Right.
But I know he'll enjoy that. That's good, right?
Yeah.
That we're
Cool.
setting the bar high for him.
Yeah. Shall we? Shall we roll some dice and do some contacting?
Yes.
Cool. I don't know if we ever. Hmm.
put
Did I?
stats to Phobos?
Yeah, did I stat Phobos?
I
think I
thought we did because he's done a couple of things.
Yeah. I think I did too. Hold on.
Yeah, because we got into a fight and Phobos was not
Yeah.
helping.
Yeah. I've got here's the problem. The notebook that I've got this whole thing balanced precariously.
Right.
And the notebook that my mic is balanced on, I think is the notebook where Phobos is statted. So I've got another thing. There we go. I don't want this all to fall like a Rube Goldberg machine. So I'm just trying to like, cool.
That's funny because I thought you were going to say, I know you moved since we've played.
Yeah.
That, right? It may have been packed away and you haven't unpacked that box yet.
No. I've got it. So I now have 2 notebooks, but in my life, but I used to have like a notebook for every project. And it meant that whenever I was out and I wanted to write about that project, I couldn't because I didn't have that notebook. So now I just have one notebook for everything, and that has helped a bunch. But did I put the dictionary of move stuff in my? No, I've not arranged it yet. Let's look. How powerful is Phobos?
Yeah, I get a lot of heat being a software guy, and I use a notebook to record most of the stuff that I care about.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
because it's non-networked, unshareable, old school.
I don't know. It feels good. It's out of my head. I know where it's at.
It's yeah. No. Right? I totally understand.
Yeah.
I totally understand. Okay. So I've got the Sword of Cons, so that's good. Phobos can't be far from that. So where are you, Mr. Phobos? Yeah, no. I understand why you do it. I'm just saying, like, why folks.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. They assume I would have, because I will get that. What do you use to take notes on your computer? I'm like, yeah, I don't really take notes on my computer.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And I bring it in with me to, I had someone mention who was interviewing me for a job. And I always bring my notebook with me.
Yeah.
And like one nice thing I love about it is I an old gaming trick, right? When you sit down at the gaming table for cons, I'll literally like make the table, a little like circle. I mean, it just looks hideous. It's not like I draw a really complicated table, but I draw the table and then I put everyone's name around the table.
Yes.
And so I do that for job interviews too. There's Phobos, damn it, he's right next to Sword of Cons. Great. I do that for job interviews, and one person like who I ended up is a colleague and said, when you had that notebook at the job interview, just seemed really impressive. And I was like, it's just a notebook. It's just my notebook. Like, I don't know. What do other people do? Like, what do other people take their notes on? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And I'm sure, other people just kind of wing it, but I don't know. Anyway, that's it for me. It's all learned from gaming, right? Cool. Yeah. You are calling Phobos, who is a power 5 demon. So not that bad. Yeah. It's not like one of my big apocalyptic 8, 9, or 10s. But yeah, it's your lore.
Right.
And I think I'm going to give you like a helping die from with the Witch King, because they're leveraging their ability to bring skins. Nice. So take a bonus.
Nice. So that it gives me 5 dice.
Yep. And I think you also used, I'm going to say 6, because I'm going to give you a bonus die because you brought in what we know about Phobos to the table, and let's just say that that's a bonus die. Yeah,
I will
yeah,
take
yeah.
it.
Yep.
Yes. No, I will take it. Yes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's okay. That's
Yeah,
oh
it's
no,
not
that's
bad.
good. That's good. That's solid. That's solid.
Yeah, these. Oh, nice.
Yes. Ooh.
So 9, 8, 8. Oh no, 9, 9. Okay.
Yeah. No. No. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You put the call out. And I think it's successful. But I think an interesting thing about this particular ritual, especially since you're calling. Wait, hold on. Back up. Back up. Back up. We you went to the oldest place in Moo's bed, and
Yes.
what the fuck is that?
Yes. 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 Yes.
I picture. You know what? Here's what I picture. Tell me what you think. Is like
Mm-hmm.
there are, when you're walking around Rome, you can kind of turn the corner, and there's just like this ancient temple there, and it's just there it is, and I think that's kind. It's not in the center. It's not really
Right. Right.
dramatic,
Right.
but I think it's like these broken pillars, and it's this broken temple that was decimated in some tribal war
Mm-hmm.
thousands of years ago, and now it's kind of a refugee camp, but still it's the oldest place, and if a demon was going to stay somewhere and not fade, this is where it would have to go.
Right.
And yeah, I think that's where you put the call out
I like it.
to Phobos, is in this weird temple. Do you have any ideas about like what it originally was, or any other
I
details?
do. Yes. I'm
Yeah.
glad you asked. I was going to leave it, but I do.
No,
So I think when you said Roman and you turn this corner and there's a temple, there it is. In my head, I immediately went to. We know a lot of those sites are built on top of older sites.
right.
So I think that this was built on top of something that may have been Sidonian,
Nice.
or the ruins of something that's Sidonian.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's why. So it's the oldest place, but it's far older than we think because they built this here on top of that. Right?
Yeah.
So I think it was something Sidonian that this temple is built on top of.
Cool.
They revered that, and well, I know it was a Sidonian bathhouse or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, that's so
Right.
right.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, I think you get that word out, and I'm not gonna roll a bunch of dice for, although I am kind of interested
Mm-hmm.
in, okay, he keeps it, and then. Yeah, I was just curious if the Witch King's, how his humanity was doing. So I rolled a
Okay.
couple of humanity checks, and yeah, I think like in the week, like I think it takes a lot of, it takes weeks, and for Phobos to arrive, and for in that time, Lemurian soldiers bring the skins of their Atlantean enemies, who they are fighting on the borders with, and those skins are laid out for Phobos for when they arrive. And is there anything else in particular you want to do with your time? As you, yeah.
I will for sure be looking out for that tattooed armed individual.
Right.
Any sign, are they still doing the same thing years later? Right.
Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Or are they gone forever from my path.
Yeah. Cool. I've got So you're wondering that, and the Witch King says, please, whenever you can, come to my court. It's just nice to have someone I can trust from the old days. And you're there one day, maybe one evening,
Mm-hmm.
and in walks uh, the kind of Atlantean woman. And I think, like Atlanteans, she's very, very pale skinned,
Mm-hmm.
no eyebrows, maybe like almost white hair, right?
Right.
And probably wears a lot of clothing to keep the desert sun off of her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
very, very heavily covered, except for the one arm that that is covered in this very elaborate, colorful vine. And her I think, on her hands are these rings. And she's leading in this kind of emaciated child who's holding a rock that's like about as big as a baby. And like looks like, kind of, sometimes it seems like how is he even carrying a rock that big?
Right.
And the Witch King says, Damien names. Hold on 1 second. I think the Witch King says her name because you never knew it, and says,
Right. Right.
says, Ningle, who do you bring to my court today? And Ningle says, this is an urchin. He's the one who, there was a dead witch lord whose skull was caved in. You wanted me to find out who had done it. And I tracked this one into the desert. He was halfway to Olamons when I found him, nearly starved. I think he might have made it. Something about the rock he carries is not natural. And the Witch King, I think the Witch King gets up and kneels to the kid, like, squats down to be at the kid's level, and it's just like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
the same thing he did when you were here. And he says, do you have a name? And the kid shakes his head and says, my parents, I never knew them. I was never given a name. And he says, well, there's some strength in that. No one knows my name. I destroyed it. You won't have to destroy yours. You are the child with a rock. Can you tell me about this rock? He says, it's my only friend, and it was there in the desert when I needed it, when I called out for vengeance. Oh, interesting. Well, do you mind if do you want to hold on to the rock for a while? And the kid says, I don't want to let go of the rock. He says, okay. I think that rock may be very powerful. You killed one of my witch lords with it. He says, are you going to kill me now? He says, no, I don't kill children. And the witch lord you killed might have deserved it. So I think like there's like a tussle from, the crowd, as like that witch lord's family like is like, what the fuck? Like, I demand vengeance.
Right.
And I think the witch lord, the Witch King stands up and says, you demand vengeance? And this young witch lord whose father was brained says yes, and he says, "You want to fight this child and their rock?" And he says, "What? I I want you to destroy him for killing one of your vassals." He says, "No, that's not the way things work here. You'll have to get your own vengeance. Do you want to face this child and their rock? This nameless child spit from the desert?" "Not today. Let me know when you're
Not
ready."
today.
I think like he kneels down to the kid and says, "Let's get you some food. Maybe we can talk a little more about that rock later." And the kid says, "Okay." And like he leads him away, and I think
Right.
like it's just the same, like the hand on his shoulder,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
way
yeah.
he's leading him. It's just the exact same way he led you,
Can I
all those years ago. Yep.
can I get a feel on that rock from where I am?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally. Yeah, it's statted. Uh, it is totally statted out. I think it's the kid from Moo's bed. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Make a lore roll.
Ooh. All right. That's 4 dice.
Yep.
There it is. That's not too horrible.
Yep. Oh
Or
shit.
or it could be. If you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yes.
Yeah, you look at it and you're just not sure.
Right,
Like,
right,
where's the power here? Is it in the
right,
kid? Is it in the rock? Is like you just don't understand where the demon is exactly.
right,
Um, you just saw you know this kid killed someone
right.
with the rock, and you know that a warlock just backed down. So it's like something's up, but you're just not sure exactly what.
Gotcha.
And I think we've got her name now, right? It's
Yes.
Ningle.
Ningle,
Uh,
yes.
Ningle approaches you, and again, I think she's like full face covering,
Uh-huh.
maybe like eyes that are blue, but they almost look white.
Hmm.
They're so light. Uh, um, and she says, "What does she say exactly?"
Yes, this will be important.
Yeah. She looks at the sword on your hip and she says,
Hmm.
"Your time with the Witch King clearly shaped you."
I think I look at her and I look her over and I look at the tattoo
Yeah,
and then I say, I'm sorry. Do we know each other?
we do. I am Ningle. I'm the Witch King's finder. I find young sorcerers out in the world. And I bring them to the Witch King. It is important that he has a means to, well, he does not want young sorcerers to be out in the world where they can be taken advantage of. And so I bring them to him when they are of a certain competence and power. like
Where do
you.
you where do you find these young sorcerers?
They're everywhere. People with the power and the will to bring that which was lost back to the world. They're around.
So that one you brought back from the desert, orphaned.
Mm.
Do you ever
Yes.
bring any from their families separated?
Yes. Sometimes their families are scared of them, and so they're eager to get rid of them. Sometimes they're very poor, and so they'll do it for a bit of water or other promises of riches.
And me?
Your father wanted counsel with one of the Witch King's creditors. He wanted to be able to forge your tribes into something of a weapon. And he sent you away to do it. I've heard you've made your peace with your father in your way.
We've had words. We've come to an understanding.
Are you going to seek an understanding with me from the part I played in this?
Should I? Do I need to?
I think like you see her eyes smile, right?
Mhm.
And she says, it's not for me to know. Some people, having been taken away from their home, feel like something's been stolen from them. The time they would have had with their family, the normal life they might have led if I had not arrived. Some people are very angry. I've had people who have spent their years with the Witch King, risen to great prominence, still become very angry at me when they see me again.
uh, and I will fess up. I will say, I admit, I came here to kill you because I'm angry, and I'm still angry even in this conversation. I'm angry, right? Uh, I think, uh, and I look around. I'm hoping I can find a family around, right?
Yeah.
With there's some kids or whatever, like a normal looking family or whatever.
Yeah, like
Uh,
there's some water merchants nearby.
yeah.
Yep.
So I point out to them, and I said, "But for you and my father, that that might have been me, right? Before you two, right? Who's to say we want to rise to prominence anywhere? Maybe that's all we want, right there, right? But you and my father took that away. So yeah, something was stolen,
Hmm.
um, but I'm not sure uh, violence gets it back for me today with you.
Well, when you make up your mind, let me know. I will be in Moo's bed for a few days yet. You have time to make your decision.
That's a that's a strange position. You're saying it's okay to be angry and to decide I want to kill you.
It's always okay to be angry, Marduk. Of course it is. And you were dealt a terrible fate. And the way that your father dealt it was poorly wrought. I had a part to play in that. However, that is where my ability to empathize with your vengeance ends. Once it leads to violence, it becomes something different. And I will be forced to defend myself. But am I going to say that your anger is not okay? I will never do that. I will be findable. Or to put it in words you will understand, I will be free to be contacted and summoned. And yeah, I think she walks away. And I think we flash back to Marduk waking up. He has a room kind of adjacent to the Witch King.
Right.
And you can hear the Witch King screaming at one of his servants who has come with a missive. And someone has betrayed him, and he's kicked. You wake up as he's kicking over a table, and he says, I'm gonna kill him. I'm going to kill all of his children. He's going to watch his family die. Like, he's just saying these horrible things he's going to do.
Right.
And I think he sees you're awake, and he kind of takes a deep breath. And he says, "I'm sorry I woke you up, Marduk. Someone has invited my ire, and my vengeance must be terrible, so that none ever seek to do anything like it again. Otherwise, Lemuria will fall. I can't have that. Will you help me summon something terrible, something that should have been stricken from the world, that should have never come back, so that we can put it upon these people?"
I will help.
My mother used to say that anger and vengeance are petty. You don't think this is petty?
Well, I think I don't have a feel for how old Marduk is yet, but I think he says, "I don't know what petty is. What's petty? I don't know this word."
It means it's small. It makes you smaller by acting with it. It means that it's not worthy of your energy or time.
Right. I think he stews it over, and I think he takes it very literally. Right. And
Yeah.
he says, "I'm not small. I'm not small. I'm big for my age."
You are. You can accomplish big things. I think the Witch King realizes that he's literally asking a child for geopolitical personal advice.
That's right. Is this okay?
and laughs and says, "Maybe we'll summon this thing tomorrow. You should go back to sleep. Do you need some tea?"
Tea is good. I will have some tea, and then I will go back to sleep.
Yeah, and I think it's this childhood memory of the Witch King pouring you some tea.
Yeah.
There are those nice moments, I think, with relatives where you're up late, where you get woken up, and there's that nice moment.
Right.
You're up sick or something happened, and this was because he was trashing the room like a petulant rock star. But
right.
It doesn't matter. The nice moment is the nice moment.
Right.
And I think, I just wanted to have that conversation about vengeance from another point of view, and have Marduk have that embedded in him somewhere in the past. So
Right.
yeah, that's we can end that there. And we've been at it for about 2 hours, so I'm kind of cool to kind of stop it there for now.
No, I'm good with
And,
that. I think,
yeah,
yeah.
and I don't think I don't feel like we've finished this. I think we're another game or maybe two away from finishing this kicker. But I think it's off to an interesting start, and
Yes.
it's got a much slower vibe than the Red Waste did. So that's cool.
No, it is. I like this differently. It's going different than I anticipated.
Yeah, me too.
But that's good because I'm not sure, in a good way. I'm not sure who's supposed to get my vengeance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think that's good. So
That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, because I don't know. Yeah, everybody's kind of creepy in this, and I'm trying to like keep the Witch King creepy without being like gross. Like
right.
I'm trying to like tread that line, and good. If you're like, hey, I'm not sure, then I think I'm being successful in
Yeah.
how that's happening.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Certainly,
That's
him
awesome.
looking out for young sorcerers.
Right.
That won me over because I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, no, that makes him not the bad evil Witch King, right? And then I can't really be mad at Ningle so much, other than breaking up my happy home, right? Which may not have been happy. My dad has sold me off to somebody else.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah. All right. Yeah. Cool. I know where we'll start next game then. Definitely.
Nice.
Because yeah, I think we need to have someone either grab young Marduk or old Marduk and like be like, let's talk about the Witch King for real.
For real.
Let's have a moment.
Some things you need to know.
Yeah, well, yeah. Is he saving young sorcerers? Like, I don't know. Cool. Awesome. What have you, anything you want to pitch or let people know that's coming or is on its way that you're working on, or
I'm wrapping up my lifted zine. I'm pretty sure once it's done, I'm putting in the pre-gens, which are X-Men inspired. I think I want to do a PBTA superheroes game.
Oh, neat.
So I think I want to do that. I've played a ton of Champions, which I loved. It's been fun this far. But I feel like I want to take a stab at a PBTA superheroes game.
Oh man,
Older
so many
folks.
questions.
Yeah, not young people. So the Magpie game I love, Masks, but I'm not a young supers person, right?
Right.
But that game won me over. It's fun to play. I like the team dynamics in there. I didn't want to like it. I think I told Brendan, I told him that, I don't want to like the game, right? I don't want to buy it. But I own it. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it's not my jam.
Yeah. There was an arc of X-Men where the original X-Men, young X-Men, get brought to the present day.
Yes.
And it was excellent. And I think one of the cool things we got to see is Kitty Pryde as the Professor X character who kind of teaches them. And of course we like that because when Kitty Pryde was 13, we were 13.
We were
and
13,
now we're like,
yes.
we like seeing her growing up and being like the professor. So I hear you, like wanting that adult game is the thing.
Right.
Yeah. That's neat. Are you thinking playbooks? Are you thinking power moves? What are you thinking?
Man, I started with playbooks, right? But then I'm thinking I don't want to do archetypes of powers, right? I want to let folks kind of pick and choose, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to go the champions route where
now,
that's too far, right?
It gets thorny in a hurry. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of play testing in there, but I think that's that's the fun challenge. I want to do that.
Yeah, awesome,
So,
awesome. And
um,
and I don't know. I feel like our vision of PBTA is so narrow. Like I think there's a lot of room to
right,
do
right,
some really wild shit that people are like, oh wow, this is still PBTA, and it's
right.
like, oh
This is
yeah,
still
yeah,
PBTA.
totally.
Yes, yeah. I want to
Um,
do that. Yes.
awesome, awesome. And then the other thing I remember from your podcast is Debt Punk.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh my goodness. Yes. So Debt Punk will have debt books instead of play books.
ooh,
Yes. So yeah, I'm digging deep, deep, deep on Debt Book in Debt Punk.
cool.
Um, I think I remember on the car ride with my kid, the thing that struck me, and we were laughing, and I feel it's funny, but it's not funny because it's kind of real, but it's still kind of funny.
Yeah,
Is I'm like, I think I explained to him in PBTA, you have these playbooks and that whole concept, and he was good. I said, but I don't think we're going to do that. I think in this game, right? I don't care what your name is. I don't care what your backstory is, right? I think on that first page, here's what you owe, right? And here are the people
right.
you owe it to, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And I said, I think what we have to figure out is in the game mechanically, how do we get the rest of that story? Because as players, we do kind of care about that stuff,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so I think somewhere along the line, there's a mechanic or a move or something where you're having to divulge some of that stuff uh, into the economy to make other things work. And then we
nice.
learn your backstory and these other things. But I said, I think on the playbook, the first thing we're working out is how much do you owe and who do you owe it to, right?
Yeah,
And everything else falls out from there.
yeah,
I did a post on combat, and my thought there was after reading all of Vincent Baker's essays, and I thought combat doesn't have to be how many ways I can cut this guy or shoot this guy or how much damage I'm dishing out. I think what I want is how much did that just cost me, right?
oof,
Right.
yeah,
Um, and so I've been playing around with different iterations um, of a combat move where everyone's going to get hurt, right? There's no doubt
yeah.
about that, right? What did it cost you, right?
How
And
much
I
you're willing to
think,
pay?
yeah, how much are you willing to pay in harm to yourself, to the people you're with, the equipment that you have, and then again, we're doing car rides or we're on walks and we talk about it. My son is still into the debt punk conversation,
Right.
and there's giggles because especially when I say, well, when this happens, it costs you something, and we put that back on your debt sheet. You owe somebody for that, right?
Right.
Because that increases your debt at that point, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, it's funny, but it's not funny, but it's
Yeah.
funny.
It's
So yeah,
horrific. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I mean, yeah. I feel like my main interactions with American debt are, everyone I know who has college debt
yes,
and
yeah,
medical
yeah,
debt.
yeah, and medical
And
debt, yeah,
it's horrific, like the way our
yeah,
systems work. Like it's
yeah,
just, you know, you can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. When you say like, how much does this cost? It's like, well, if you take a bad hit and you're not
right,
insured,
right,
it's thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars probably.
yeah.
If you break your leg or even something little.
I have a couple of friends that are teachers, and they're in their early 50s, and they're still paying off their student loans, right?
Yep.
And that's a thing. They're not mad at me because I went the military route. Uh,
Right.
but it's a conversation where they're like, wow, that's crazy. You're doing these things and you're doing this. And we're about the same age. And I still have this much debt, student
Yeah.
loans.
Yeah. I have friends who basically hit the job lottery and are like, oh shit, I'm going to pay this off. Like,
Right. Right.
they got that tech job that's
Yeah.
magic,
Yeah.
and it's a thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Thinking about everything and how much it costs. It's really a capitalist nightmare of a game. I mean, the in Trophy Gold, you've got that debt
Right.
hanging
Right.
over you,
Right.
and I pitched it to somebody. I was like, hey, do you want to play? I could come over and run this, and they were like, no, no.
No.
I gotta deal with that debt every day of my life.
Every day.
I
Yes.
don't want I don't want to game it. Like, I'm just not
Right. I don't
interested.
want to game it.
And I was like,
Yeah.
that's totally fair.
Yep.
That is totally fair. I get it. I get it. Yeah, that's rough. That is
I
really
think
rough.
the funniest thing we came up with was in Death Punk. What do we call it? Dead knots. So even in death in this game, right? You just get another playbook, and it's called a dead knot. If your debt is still high at the point that your character dies, or is dying, they just take the corpse or whatever, and they put it in a machination or a
Right.
mechanical thing, an automaton. Add
Keep you
that
going.
onto what you owe, keep you going, right? And yeah, my kid fell out when I'm like, and once all that's done, you owe them for them putting you in this android body thing, right? And he just died laughing. I'm like, so you got to pay that back too, right? And
Yeah,
so,
that's
yeah.
dark. That's
That
really
is
grim.
dark. Yes, that is grim. So, um, so yeah, I'm still, that's moving forward. I think I touched that almost every day, messing around with something
Oh,
there.
wow.
And again, I'm just walking through the essays Vincent Baker put out because they're super, super helpful. And they made me
Yeah.
think about PBTA in different ways that I hadn't thought about before.
Yep.
So,
Yep. That's interesting. That is interesting. Cool. Yeah. Debt books. What did you go?
yes.
Yeah. What did you go to debt for? Like, was it your training that you went to
Right.
debt for? Was it the gear you have?
Right.
Ugh. It's so grim. What a
Well,
fucking
and I think,
capitalist hellscape we live in.
yes. And I think the deal is there's the debt, but I think you have to have something unique or special, right? That is allowing you to work it off. Otherwise, I think folks or the powers that be wouldn't bother. So I
Right.
think you must have a special talent, skill, or something that is useful that
Yep.
allows you to work this off, right?
Yeah.
So, so yeah,
Interesting.
we're still messing around with that, talking about that.
Cool.
Got stuff in my Evernotes, so I'm hoping to get one or two playbooks into a playtest position, so I can figure out the rest.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Nice. Now that I'm moved in, I should start thinking about game designy stuff. I need to look at my notes and start tinkering. But yeah, cool, awesome, good stuff. And anything good coming? Anything interesting coming up on Diceology? There's been some. I've liked the like. What am I playing this week?
yeah, I will continue to do that. I have a conversation scheduled with Free League folks. They've got
Oh,
a bunch
wow.
of stuff coming out. I'm hoping I can get a conversation about Blade Runner because
Right.
from at least Dicebreaker, it looks like that they have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the player's guide. And I would still play Simbarum Raw as it is, but they do some nice things. Well, they got remember the One Ring, and
Yeah.
then the One Ring had a crossover into 5th edition.
Right.
They've got a couple of the folks that helped make that happen, and that was an excellent crossover.
I've
They
heard it
got
was
them
good.
to help them, to help them cross over Simbarum, and it looks
Oh, wow.
fantastic from the Alpha Room. I
That's
would
funny.
run it.
I just listened to the Free League YouTube station because they're like kickstarting Into the Odd.
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's funny you should mention Free League because I was like, oh, I just listened to them. Yeah. Yeah. Blade Runners. Yeah, it's troubling and interesting. And yeah, it's a whole thing. I don't know. I don't know how exactly you play in that world.
Right.
But to be fair, I don't know if any IPs are like Simbarum interests me.
Right.
Just because I think it's a cool setting and I'm intrigued by it more than any necessarily IPs that always make me go like, yeah, I liked that, but
right. I was like that with Dune, and I'm still
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, right? I love the books, right?
same.
Uh, I'm not. I don't hate on the movies. The movies were entertaining.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know that I would play there, right?
no,
Uh,
I would. Yeah, I mean, the Burning Wheel Jihad stuff was
yes,
interesting, but
right.
that
That
was
was
really
interesting.
like, again, I mean, I think what Sean and I are doing on Fridays
Hmm.
is like how I would game Dune. Is I would be,
Right,
where it's like, yeah, we're gonna have to think of a reason why there are knife fights in space, and then
right,
it's gonna be kind of like quasi feudal,
right,
and a political disaster, and
right.
there will be weird drugs and go. Like,
There you go. Yes,
I don't necessarily want to like walk on Arrakis or roll to get up on a
right.
worm.
To get up on the
Um,
worm, right.
I don't
That feels
know.
different. Yeah.
I don't
Um,
know.
what I will say about Free League, so I have some hope on the Blade Runner. I
Yeah,
was not. I like their Coriolis sci-fi setting.
yeah,
I wish it got way more traction than it did. When Aliens came out, I was kind of mad. I was like, I wish you guys had put the effort back
right.
into Coriolis, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, Aliens is pretty good, right? It's pretty
I've heard.
solid.
I've
Yeah,
heard.
it's deep. Uh, it's fantastic, right? So my thought is, if they take that same level of effort, right, Blade Runner is going to be good, right?
Yeah,
And I don't know what that all looks like beyond the two movies we saw,
right.
um, but I think they'll do the digging, and because there's stuff in the Aliens book that they've got out that I hadn't considered. I know there's an expanded universe,
Yep,
but
yep.
they do a deep dive in those areas, so you could do more than just colonial marines on the ship fighting xenomorphs, right? It's bigger than that. So
There's an interesting audiobook of, oh shit, who did it? It might be, is it William Gibson?
uh-huh.
Um, yeah, there's an audiobook of William Gibson's script or screenplay for Alien 3. Um,
Really?
yeah, and check it
I'm
out.
writing that
And
down. Yes.
it has a lot of expanded universe stuff in it. A lot of like, yeah, the kind of space communist type stuff, and like, oh
Right.
yeah, no, there's not just the part of space that Ripley came from. There are other
Right.
parts, and there are borders, and there are problems. Yeah, check it out.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a neat audiobook, and I think some of the actors from Aliens are actually in it.
Wow, that's
Uh,
fantastic. All right, I will do
yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely. It's pretty cool. Um, and yeah, I think that the actor for Bishop and Corporal Hicks are both in it. Uh,
Nice.
and in this version, in this script, they live,
Right.
and Ripley's still asleep because of some
Right.
kind of uh, problem with her sleep module, and I think her and Newt are still asleep. And then
Okay.
there's like, but Hicks and the android Bishop get into like hijinks in space, and it's cool.
Nice.
It wasn't great, but it was probably better than the follow-up movie where they just like die
Right.
in a crash.
Right.
And you're
Right.
like, why
What?
did I suffer with them through a whole thing? Um,
Yes. Why did I do
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, I'm intrigued. I think Freely puts out really neat stuff. I haven't bought
Right.
anything. I mean, I hit support on the Into the Odd Kickstarter.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
so I'll be getting that, which is I think it will be neat.
Yeah, that is
Um,
neat.
but I haven't been able to like pull the trigger on Alien or and I've grabbed a couple of I think Symbaroum you know uh, just PDFs, uh, even though just because I felt like the books were a slippery slope, like they're so pretty,
Right.
and
Right. Yeah. No,
and
it's a slippery slope.
I was like,
It is.
I
It is true.
I am going to end up collecting this shit, and I don't need this. I don't need enough. Like the PDFs are enough. That is enough for right now. And I think I got it in like a bundle of holding. There was like a really good bundle of holding.
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, great. And yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting setting. I think of all of their stuff, Symbaroum is the one I'm like, oh yeah, I would do something with that. I don't know. Cool. That'll be interesting. I'm curious to hear your interview with them. That's good. There's always good stuff coming on Diceology, so that's nice to hear. Awesome.
So yeah, no, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And I will be getting back into a Burning Wheel game with my lady friend starting this week.
Nice. I saw that like date and Burning Wheel thing going on.
Yes. So she's gamer. Yeah, she's game adjacent. She likes Harry Potter stuff. We played a bunch of Harry Potter board game stuff. She's into a lot of different card games. She tried D&D, but the person who ran it wasn't a good teacher at it. So that didn't work out nice. But yeah, but she was still interested.
Yeah.
And I forget how we got to Burning Wheel. We were hanging out at my house. And I have Burning Wheel books and stuff all over the place. So I think I talked about it. And she said she would like to play that. I'm like, so my thought is, you don't have to do that for me, right?
Right.
There's plenty of other games we could play.
Yeah.
But she kept bringing it up. And then she pitched me a premise, right? And I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
And so this last date, I started asking questions about the premise.
Yeah.
And so we burnt her up a 4 life path Elf Ranger.
Love it.
She was arguing for 5th life path. I'm like, no, 4 is good. Elves are cheaty, right?
Yeah.
You only need 4. You're fine. You'll be fine. So we're gonna do it, yeah. And I'm hoping to get it on the podcast and see how it goes. So,
nice.
Right out of the gate, she's got a relationship with a dead king, his ghost, right?
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I'm like, so we're doing this then, right?
Yeah. That's a good one. I'm sold.
I'm sold. So was I. I'm like, all right, I'm in. I will run it. We're doing it.
I'm reading a book right now, and it's so Burning Wheel it hurts. And yeah, I can't stay away from that game for too long. It's hard. That I'm reading this book and I'm like, oh, this fucking Burning Wheel game. Like
what book is it?
I've got it right here. I just happen to have it right here. It is called Pariah by Anthony Ryan.
Okay, I don't know this.
I am 313 pages into it, and we've got like a nightly ritual, Johnny and I, where she's like, hey, what are you reading? And I'm like, oh, I'm still reading Pariah. And she says, is it good yet? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm 300 pages into it, and I don't know if it's good. I don't know. It's also the first of a trilogy, which is okay.
Okay. Right.
So if series vex you, don't get it. And yeah, it's interesting. It's starting to make some interesting choices, and I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, and I don't know. I don't know. Usually, if I just don't like something, I'll stop reading it. I'm not like someone who's like, oh, I've got to push through and get this done. So clearly, I am enjoying it. I just like something about it is like stopping me from just jumping online and being like, I love this book. You've got to read it. And I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it'll really stick the landing, and it'll really give me that oomph I need. But yeah, it's good. It's interesting. And I would be curious to hear what you think, just so that someone else who knows Burning Wheel could be like, oh, I see what you're seeing. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. I'll check it out.
Yeah. Please do. It's interesting, and again, if I don't like something, I just stop reading it. So
right. No, I'm with you. I'm like, I can't. I have to punch out.
I don't have time. So yeah, it's good. And hopefully, I mean, how many pages is it? It's not that many. A little over 500. So I'm 3/5 there.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, cool. We'll see. And it definitely has like, there are a bunch of twists that I think are pretty damn good.
Okay.
And it feels, it's the twists. It's those twist moments that really feel like, oh, this just feels like a Burning Wheel game. Like,
Gotcha.
where you start with this, character who's, a kid and a bandit, and then you just end and then it's like, where do you end up? And it feels like one of those 3 life path characters that like, you're like, I don't know where they're going to go.
I love 3 Life Paths.
Oh, so good. So good.
That is my
So,
favorite. Yes.
yep. Good stuff. Cool, man. Thank you for gaming, and we'll do some more Marduk
Right.
before too long. We'll
Yes.
email, and we'll figure out another Monday that works.
Yeah,
And
my Mondays are open. I just
awesome.
Wrapped up the last of my Champions games. So
cool. And I've got my day starts kind of later on Mondays. We might be able to do. We'll figure it out.
right.
We'll figure it out. We'll email about it. Awesome. If you're still listening, I don't think anyone is, but if you're watching the YouTube channel, thank you for watching, and we'll be back with more Marduk. So we'll see you soon. Good night, folks.